In this final session, we will be talking about retaining volunteers. Once you can retain a strong volunteer base, it allows your organization to grow in other ways. Retaining volunteers rejuvenates, sustains, and grows both your volunteer base and your ability to focus on other facets of your organization. Considering and better understanding the differences in your volunteer populations will go a long way in helping you think of retention methods for each population. First, consider the many differences that will exist with each volunteer, such as age, being a parent, being a student, working multiple jobs, and etc. Then, think about the different pressures and obligations of these different populations and individuals. So let's say you have a group of individuals who all currently live in your community, and they all have some sort of capacity to volunteer. One is a senior citizen in a nearby neighborhood who has lived here for a generation. Another is a younger undergraduate student who just got to college and has no idea where to start. But then you also have a young professional who races and manages a nearby bicycle shop and plans to live in the community at least another 5 years. And finally, you have a young family looking for a volunteering opportunity who just moved to the community and plan on staying for at least 3 years. Depending on each individual, obligation, and length of stay, retention will look different. Volunteers are more likely to remain when they feel valued and supported within their capacities. The following are best practices for retention, which include building community and consistency, creating an enjoyable and intentional environment, and appreciating and valuing your volunteers. Now, some of these may sound like very big, broad goals. However, I will give you some very simple and easy methods you can utilize to begin fostering these practices and values. When thinking about retaining volunteers, a method that is often utilized is recognition systems, such as Volunteer of the Month, or even personality recognitions like Silliest or Sweetest Volunteer of the Month. Another method to utilize would be appreciation notes or cards. A larger scale method you could try out if you have the resources and financial ability to would be hosting appreciation events with fun activities and games. Finally, one method that does not directly involve the volunteers is creating or improving volunteer coordinator or supervisor transitions. While this last method seems a little odd, it is actually imperative to the consistency and flow of your organization, and it also directly impacts your volunteers. The following are questions to consider when reflecting about ways to retain and grow your volunteer base. Does your organization retain volunteers well? What volunteer populations serve with your organization? Is there a practice for retention you would be interested in utilizing? Which methods for retention do you already use? Could you improve them? Knowing how to create spaces where volunteers feel comfortable and valued is not just essential, but influential. When you retain a strong volunteer base, even with volunteers who may not stay so long, you have more opportunities and time to allocate elsewhere within your organization.